right, men. Here's your mission. There's a vehicle in the driveway that needs unloading. Dismissed.
Oh, it's packed to the ceiling with presents. Charge!
That's another thing. Your father piled the presents up so high in the back seat he couldn't even see out the window.
Now, don't blame me. I wanted to put the presents in the front seat and you in the back.
Well, that would have certainly made things more pleasant for me.
Oh, it's going to be a perfect Christmas.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special podcast. This is the podcast where we watch your favorite TV shows from yesteryear and then discuss them over a glass of wine.
Okay, we gotta stop saying a glass of wine. Just because you're drinking wine doesn't mean that I'm drinking wine.
All right. And you know what? I wanted to include our drink choices as part of the show. And we've done like 12 episodes and we've never mentioned it.
I think we kind of passingly mention it.
So, in case we get into it, tonight I'm drinking a glass of Rex Goliath. I grabbed it from the cheap wine aisle. It was a whopping $6.99.
Big spender. It does sound fancy. For a whole $6.99?
Yeah, what drew me to it was there's a gigantic chicken on the label. A drawing of a chicken. See, I don't go for price, I go for if I like the label or not.
Ooh, a turtle!
Animals will grab my attention, and maybe a cool font, or it's a name I know, like Francis Coppola. But usually you're not that much of a wine drinker. You're if you do, it's just Arbor Mist. So you always have fancy cocktails.
Yeah, tonight it is the Chocolatini from I have no clue what this brand it even is that I got this mix from Home Goods. Cobblestone Kitchens mix from Canada.
So it's like a drink mix that you just add to vodka?
Yeah, you add gross-smelling powder stuff to a pitcher of milk and some water. And then you add in vodka, and then you chill it. I added probably half as much vodka as it requested, because that's all I had, plain vodka. And I was like, we'll see how that is. See if I have to add the candy bar vodka.
Well, it's always about experimentation. That way, if you ever have a holiday party, then you'll know how to do it.
Yeah, plus I thought 12 ounces of vodka sounded like a lot.
And speaking of holidays, this is the start of our Christmas season. Shout out to Christmas. And in case this is your first time tuning in, I'm Patrick M. Dunn, and I'm joined by Kat Halstead. We're not going to get into Twitter IDs and websites tonight because I feel like we spent too much time on that. But did we announce the website yet? Because I feel like
We did it in one, and we said it was going to be super GeoCities-like in style. Unfortunately, I kind of couldn't do that.
Yeah, we revamped it.
I had to make it a little cleaner. I tried. I was just like, no, I can't do it. I can't look at this.
It was okay. It was a good idea in my mind when I was 3 glasses of wine in. I was like, ooh, I want to do a GeoCities site. But to find us, by the time this is up, the website should be online. It should be at a very special podcast.tumblr.com. We may have a domain. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. I'm sure we will, but if you go there, it'll at least take you to it. And we will link the hell out of this in the show notes. So
oh, yeah.
You will find it. And we will also do fun blog posts and articles. So to coincide with this episode, I'm going to do the top 5 unfun moms of television. And the number 1 mom is going to be in the episode that we're discussing right now because she's totally the top.
Really? You think Jill Taylor is the number 1 unfun mom?
I think she's the biggest unfun mom. There's nothing fun about Jill Taylor.
Oh, come on. Lois from Malcolm in the Middle?
Yeah, but she's just mean. She's more mean than unfun.
Guess I'm going to have to think about that one. because I feel like you're wrong.
Okay, well, tune into the website and see who our top 5 unfond moms are of television and weigh in. We're at Twitter right now. It's at Patrick M. Dunn and at CatDVS. We are working on our own Twitter, but we're lazy and we don't feel like building up a new fan base.
And also, I just haven't sat down and actually set one up.
Yeah, like there could be one by the time you're hearing this, because we're recording this in November, so.
Yeah, hey, it took me like 3 days to figure out how to set up the YouTube account.
It is pretty complicated. I'll give you that.
Well, I was like, why can't I set this name? I looked all over the place. I had to Google it 12 times to get the answer. I was not happy.
So on YouTube, you can find all of our previous episodes also there. And you can comment. You can write scathing comments if you want. Or fun ones. We prefer the fun kind. And on our website, we also have a store.
Yes.
You can buy mugs. You can buy tumblers, drinking glasses,
T-shirts, beer can koozie.
I might actually buy the beer can koozie. I'll give you that.
See, I think I could like the acrylic tumbler, but that's because I'm addicted to acrylic tumblers.
Do we get a discount off the store site?
I have to double check.
We get like an employee discount. We have to like pay full price. Currently, our swag is on Cafe Press, but we're looking for better options. But this is just going to get us started. So we're still trying to feel it out, our swag. But we totally would appreciate it if you buy some swag. Only because then we can put it towards our canteen fund so we can buy hanging mics.
Mm-hmm.
And all that fancy equipment that like 97% of podcasters have. Except for us. We're just like totally...
I'm totally DIYing a hanging mic, so I don't know.
Yeah, she sent a picture where there's a microphone hanging from her light above her.
It works.
I have a microphone that looks like a softball. I'll take a picture of it and it'll be on the website. It's a softball. We need like the foam over it and all that jazz, that pop screen. So maybe in the new year, once we kind of build our fan base, maybe we'll do like a GoFundMe or an Indiegogo, whatever they call it these days. Mm-hmm. But tonight, in case you haven't read the description, we're doing the classic ABC sitcom, which ran from 1991 to 1999, Home Improvement.
I didn't know you were going to do that.
I didn't practice it. I really was going to do it, like, try to do it better, but...
Oh, that was pretty good.
So, unless you were born in, like, the last 5 years... You totally know what this show is.
Everybody watched it.
It was about the life of a local celebrity. He had his own TV show. It was about tools.
And he knew practically nothing, but he knew how to be entertaining.
He was a dimwit. Dimwit to the bone.
Well, he thought he knew more than he really did. I think a lot of times he would get really excited about the idea and not follow it through properly and be like, oh, wait, we can do it with more power.
More power. That was like a monster. More power is basically Tim Taylor's catchphrase. So his whole idea is that there's always like the normal way of doing things where you know it's going to be done. But if you want to save time, just grab the nearest Binford tool and you can do it in half the time. So basically he's a local celebrity. I was trying to figure out, is this a cable access show or is this just like a locally syndicated show?
No, it's like a cable show. It's on all over the country, but like on one of those random channels that not every cable company probably got.
What was it, G4, like the video game channel? So it's probably like
yeah, it'd be like something like one of those channels where it's on like your third or fourth package in the cable company, and you're like, I don't think so.
Like maybe like a low budget QVC.
That's where they have like one cool channel with the package that you order all these crappy channels, and you're just like, why? I don't need 25 fishing channels.
No, because I was studying, like I was like, all right, this is very high budget to be cable access. And he has like a studio audience that is filled with people. So I'm like, all right, so is he like a local celebrity?
No, it's like a national show. It's also sponsored by Binford Tools.
Which is like the Sears Craftsman of this fictional world. And they live in Detroit suburb? Yeah. I couldn't quite remember, and they didn't allude to where they lived in this episode, but I knew it snowed, and I was like, I always felt like they lived in Detroit for some reason. Basically, the episode opens just like every episode opens with Tool Time. You get like a Tool Time clip. And so Tim and Al Borland, who's his trusty sidekick,
Who actually knows what he's doing.
he's like, he should be the host, but he's more subtle, he's more humble, he keeps to himself, he's more quiet. But, you know, every now and then he'll speak up and be like, Tim, that's not the way we do things.
I don't think so, Tim. That was Al's catchphrase.
And the only reason I love Al, I mean, everybody loves Al, but the one reason that I love Al is because he wears flannel, which I fucking love. I love flannel.
And yet I don't see you wearing any flannel right now.
Well, when I do podcasts, well, it's cold up here, so I wear sweatshirts. So.
Well, flannel is warm.
I wear thin flannel. I don't wear like Al Borland flannel.
You wear like dial flannel.
Yeah, like Old Navy flannel.
God.
All right, so the episode opens. It's the Tool Time Christmas episode.
Yes.
And they have a special guest, sponsored by Binford Tools. They have a guy who can ice sculpt. So he comes out with a chainsaw, and there's a block of ice, like a big block of ice. It's like rectangular shaped. It's on a stand. We're going to challenge you right now, guy. You have 30 seconds to like cut that into a Christmas tree. And he basically just does like 4 chops, and it's like a Christmas tree. It's like a triangle is all he had to make.
Yeah, that's all he had to make. But he goes in, he gives it a little detail because he still had time.
Oh, like there was like a few like notches that he had to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I figured if this is supposed to be a nationally syndicated show, and you want to impress your audience, do you just want some guy to come out and just do like a half-assed Christmas tree ice sculpt?
It's a chainsaw. It's a tool show. It's one of the few things that Tim doesn't mess up because he's not doing it. Because I saw another Christmas episode where Tim decided that to make the Christmas tree on the set turn around, rotate.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Which is awesome, says the girl who actually has a Christmas tree stand that rotates a Christmas tree. But he, of course, had to give it more power, and that one suddenly starts going like 10 miles an hour and starts swinging Christmas ornaments all over the place. But this is like a tame opening. This is a tame Tool Time Christmas.
But the funny thing is, because like I've seen Edward Scissorhands, with just his bare hands can like snip up some pretty fucking amazing ice sculptures and topiary art. And so this guy just comes out, like, I'm like, all right, I'm laying in my bed last night watching this, and I'm like, all right, he needs to fucking amaze me if he's going to make an ice sculpture in 30 seconds. Because I'm like, you need time to, like, you're an artist, you need time to like make and perfect your masterpiece.
Yeah.
And he just does like one swipe, he makes like an angle. A second swipe, it's an angle, so now he has a triangle, and then he just does like little like divots just to make like the little like the little pine needle things. And then he messed up, so then he had to like cut off at like a second edge somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't understand like the top edge that he did. I was like, why?
And the audience was fucking amazed.
Okay, but this was from like what, 1994?
I think so.
So okay, ice sculpture, I feel like it's come a long way.
I don't know. I mean, Edward Scissorhands came out like in the early like before this, and he just did it with like his bare hands basically. He just had skizzer hands.
He had the Freddy Krueger fingers going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Like they could have done something a lot better. And then I mean, I don't want to spoil the episode, but when we get to the end, to the end of the episode, they have an Al Borland ice sculpture. It's like an actual ice sculpture of Al Borland.
Yeah.
It looks just like him, and it even has like the tool belt around. And like, why didn't they do that as their feature?
I don't know. I feel like the Christmas tree was just kind of show you, oh, if you have a big block of ice and a chainsaw, look how fast you can make a Christmas tree.
And did it feel like it was more than 30 seconds too?
You know, the second time I watched it, I thought about timing it, but I spaced out. I feel like it was just around 30 seconds, though.
Well, at one point, Tim looks at his like stopwatch, and then I was like, I wonder. Like, I felt like it's been more than 30 seconds. I'm like, I don't really feel like to like.
Yeah, well, the first time I watched it, I streamed it to my TV from YouTube, so I didn't have the little countdown time at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
So then when I rewatched this afternoon, I just watched it on my laptop, and I forgot to like check the time when it started and check the time when he finished. But
yeah, when you stream your TV, you don't get the time bar.
Yeah, it wasn't like he took like 5 minutes. He probably took about 30 to 60 seconds.
So
it was close enough.
So all in all, I thought it was a pretty dud of a cold opening.
You dork.
I was waiting all day to say that too.
Like, yeah, I can picture you sitting at your desk going, I'm gonna get this cold opening.
All right, so we get the theme song, we come back, and now it's early in the morning. I guess it's like maybe like 2 or 3 days before Christmas. It's like very close to Christmas.
It's a couple days before Christmas. It's not early in the morning. It's almost lunchtime.
Are you okay? I assumed it was like very early in the morning. Okay, so it's
No, and I say that because Jill asks Tim to set the high chair up for lunch.
Oh, okay. Well, it's morning time, pre-lunch. Jill Taylor, she's hanging out in the kitchen, being bitchy per usual, and she's upset with Tim because his annual holiday light contest is coming up. So every year he has this contest with Doc Johnson, the proctologist from down the street. Mm-hmm. And apparently they both have like the best Christmas displays in the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, well, it's like a neighborhood contest, but the only ones who like take it seriously are Tim and Doc Johnson.
Yeah, like, is that it? Like, is there ever like anyone else involved? Like, does anyone like, fuck those two? Like, I'm gonna step up my game this year.
I think there's one season where Al moves into the neighborhood, and so he becomes Tim's competition.
Is this like late in the series?
Yeah, this is like I think maybe the last season.
They were like trying to like, they were like grasping for ideas.
Al's a grown man. Let's make him buy a house instead of living in an apartment forever.
For a long time, Al is just kind of like a tertiary character. He like doesn't get his own storylines. He's only in like the opening and ending tags. And then occasionally they'll like bring him into the show.
And he'll have like some random girlfriend.
Yeah, well, he gets married at one point, doesn't he?
He gets married in the series finale.
I felt like he got married a long time before. Did he had like a long-time girlfriend, maybe?
Yeah, he had a long-time girlfriend. They were engaged, and they broke up right before the wedding.
Okay, see, I kind of build on the show kind of early, so...
Mm-hmm.
I think I made it to like, maybe like freshman year of high school. I was like, yeah, I've had it with this show.
I think I made it until about sophomore year, and then it was on the same time as Dawson's Creek, and I was like... Sorry, Dawson's Creek is now the love of my TV life. So.
Yeah, James Vanderbeek always beats out, and Joshua Jackson.
So I will always have a place in my heart for Jonathan Taylor Thomas, JTT.
I don't want to wait. All right, so where were we? So it's basically like just before Christmas. Jill's doing something in the kitchen. She's like making lunch, or she's like, I don't know what she's doing. She's always
finished baking some cookies. She's packing those up to go give to the neighbors. You know, to apologize for every time Tim blows out the electricity in the neighborhood.
You see Tim, like, running back and forth with, like, gigantic ornaments.
I don't even know where he has the room to store all of these. Like, ginormous animal props, set pieces.
It looks like he's coming from the garage, because I'm trying to figure out, like, the house layout, so it looks like he's coming from the garage.
There has to be, like, another door to the garage, then. The door to the garage is, like, that little door off to the side from the kitchen.
Is it the basement? Is he coming out from the basement? I felt like he would have needed help, though.
Yeah, he would have needed, like, his brother Marty's help. He did have Marty's help a few times.
Tim just keeps coming back and forth. He has, like a gigantic reindeer, a candy cane, like a snowman.
A camel.
He just keeps walking by with, like, different props. And, all right, so, first off, I'm trying to figure out their money situation.
Okay.
All right, so he has let's just say he does have a nationally viewed television series.
Mm-hmm.
And they live in Detroit. Detroit's not, like, the most classiest place in the country. So, I mean, they have a decent-sized house.
Yeah.
And Jill doesn't have to work.
True.
She goes to college. She studies psychology.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm like, they seem like they're comfortable. But do they have, like, a backup plan? Like, what happens if Tool Time gets canceled?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Like, and Tim's always spending money on ridiculous things.
Yeah, and as my notes go on, I'm like, there's a lot of expenditures in this episode. Just in this episode alone, not to mention, like, previous episodes. Plus, he's probably had a lot of, like, he's definitely damaged his house a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so this takes place in a Detroit suburb, but, like, I want to look up, like, the average, like, cost of a house and just try to, like, figure it all out. Like, could they have done it? Because, and, like, going to, like, school for psychology, I don't know where Jill went, but I imagine it wasn't cheap. I'm taking classes right now just at, like, an online annex, and they're, like, $1,000 a class.
Oh, my God.
I can, like, barely pay for them. So, I don't know where Jill went to school, but like, I imagine if you want to go to, like, to be, like, a psychologist, you probably don't go to, like, a community college. Trying to figure that out. So you got Jill being bitchy about that. And then her kids come running downstairs.
Yeah.
And she's like, no running in the house. And it's Mark and Randy, and they're fighting over the bathroom. And Mark is faster than Randy, so he gets to the bathroom first. And he's like, well, why did you use your bathroom? And Randy's like, well, the twins are, getting their bath, referring to Tim's brother, Marty's kids.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, we have my bathroom, you can go in there. And he's like, well, I saw Uncle Marty go in there with 5 magazines.
Oh my god.
So you have a poop joke in the first, 10 minutes of the show. Not even, barely. Yeah. And then Tim comes out, and he's like, did you like the stink candle?
Okay, you want an answer to your question about how much the house probably cost?
Yes.
Okay, so they probably bought it in the 80s for the average price of a house in Michigan in the 80s was $77,000.
That's really cheap, because that's a big house.
Yeah. Today, well, actually, in 2000, it was $115,000.
All right, so the oldest son is Brad, so he's probably, roughly the same age as me, which is, 33.
Yes.
If they bought that house right when they first sprung him out, that would have been, 1981.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever allude to living anywhere else in previous episodes?
Actually, I think they lived in, an apartment before they moved in the house. And they moved in around the time Randy was born, so that's 82, 83-ish.
Yeah, Randy's not that much younger.
Yeah, he's not. And in real life, Jonathan Taylor Thomas is actually older.
Do you know what I noticed? They all have the same hairstyle.
Yes, that, awful cut that every boy in the 80s seemed to have.
It's like that feathered long hair, like the Sawyer cut. Do you know what, though?
Didn't you have that cut, Pat?
I did. I actually did. In 1994, 95, I had that. It wasn't quite as long, but it was like Devin Sawa long. It's as long as I got mine.
Yeah.
I didn't go by my shoulders. That was my ultimate goal, but my mother's like, you're not fucking getting it past your shoulders. I'm like, oh, come on. And then she chopped it all off in my sleep one night. Not really. All right, so Uncle Marty goes into the bathroom with 5 magazines, stinking up the whole Taylor house. And at this moment, we learn that Jill's like, it's going to be the most perfect Christmas. We got Tim's brother, his wife, his newborn twins, and then my parents are coming, my loving parents. They're driving all the way up from Texas, which is a 2-day drive, basically.
Yes, okay, driving for Christmas is not fun. I've done it.
No, and I was like, you would think that the Colonel, Jill's father, would have some kind of military rebate or something, a military coupon that he can get for flying.
There's probably veterans coupons, I'm sure. If there's not, there should be.
So they drove up. So Jill's parents, they're driving all the way from Texas. They drove 2 days up, and they basically arrive, and they're fucking fighting with each other. Right off the bat, they're just arguing with each other.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And, alright, so first off, the parents both have, hardcore Texas accents. Mm-hmm. And Jill, she sounds like everybody else. So,
No, she doesn't. She does not. She has, this slight Texas accent.
Does she? I don't pick up on it. I don't see it. But I guess, you could have been born in Texas, you could have been raised in Texas, and then you moved to Detroit. After a couple of years, you'll lose it.
Yeah, you start to lose your accent. Well, I had an accent when I moved to Colorado, apparently, according to my friends. And maybe every once in a while on some words, but it didn't last very long once I started to adapt to the Colorado vernacular.
What are Jill's parents' name? I got the Colonel is her father, and then...
The Colonel and Lillian.
Okay, Lillian. I didn't pick up on his name because they always just call him the Colonel.
I think it might be Fred.
Yeah, that sounds very that era-ish.
Yeah, I think Lillian called him Fred instead of the Colonel.
So they basically start nagging as soon as they walk in the door. And my first thought is maybe this is where Jill gets her nagginess from.
Yeah, probably.
Because they walk in the door and it's just Jill's mom, Lillian, is you said that we weren't gonna fight as soon as we arrived here. And he's like, we've been fighting since we left 2 days ago. And I was like, ugh. Yeah.
God, could you imagine being in the car for 2 days and just fighting the whole way?
Nowadays, there would be a murder.
Like, oh my God, I don't like being in the car, like, on a trip from Minnesota to Colorado. That's just too long.
How long does that take?
3 days.
3 days? Wow.
Well, especially, like, in the winter when it gets dark so early. Well, plus, we have all those, like, and we have mountains, so you don't have straight roads.
Oh, yeah, I always forget there's mountains.
Those mountains are not easy to drive.
They're rocky, mountain high.
Well, it's like 3 hours. It's like 3 days, because it took us 3 days when we moved here. It took us 3 days when we went to Colorado for Christmas. And even then, to be fair, we did stop and go to Mount Rushmore. But, yeah, it took 3 days to get back.
All right, so think about this. All right, right before Jill's parents show up, Tim's worried about the Colonel being in town because he's like, oh, the Colonel hates me. Like, he completely hates me. This is like the biggest trope of television sitcoms.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have the in-law. It's either like the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law like hate each other.
Yeah.
Or the father-in-law and the son-in-law hate each other. It's just like that clash. So the Colonel does not like Tim. It's not really established why. Maybe because he's a dimwit. I don't know. I mean...
Probably is, and Tim used to make fat jokes about Lillian all the time.
Did he?
Yes, in the early season before Lillian first came to visit, Tim would make all these fat jokes about his mother-in-law. And eventually they got cable that had Tool Time, and she heard the jokes, and she lost a lot of weight. And then she came to visit, and Tim was like, who are you?
Oh, so I guess that does prove the theory that Tool Time airs throughout the country. Jill's parents show up, and the Colonel is like, I need some help unpacking this car. So he says to the kids, he's like, kids, go outside and unpack my car. And they basically look outside, and Brad's like, oh my God, look at all those presents. It's like stacked to the roof. And Randy's like, charge! And they all run out. But then in like the next scene where they like cut to like all the presents underneath the Christmas tree, there's no presents under the tree, and it's just like shirt boxes.
I was like, how small is their back seat that everything was piled so high? And why didn't they just put them in the trunk with their suitcases?
And,
like, they must have had a small car.
All right, so this is what I got to figure out. So what is the timeline of this series? Like, because when I was watching it, I assumed it was like Christmas Eve going into Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think we're a couple days away from Christmas so that, everybody can be there and they can do Christmassy activities together.
Because, like, there's a lot going on. Like, Tim's brother came by, Jill's parents are there.
Like, what was the point of the brother and the sister-in-law even being there?
They had no relevant to the plot other than the fact they were just in the house.
Yeah, I was like,
I think
at
one point early on in the episode, in the first scene, Jill's like, this is going to be the best Christmas ever. Your brother's here. My sister-in-law's here. We got the twins. And she was like itching for a new baby too. She was like, I need a new baby. Like, that's the vibe that I was getting. Like, Tim...
Babies are exhausting, especially at the holidays. I spent last Christmas with babies, so they're exhausting.
How old is Mark at this point? Like, maybe like 6 or 7?
8.
8? Tim, the Toolman Taylor, put another baby inside me. And he's like,
I think they did an episode about that, and then she decided no, she was going to go to school instead.
Well, she basically put her whole life on hold. So she marries the biggest dimwit in all of Detroit. And it's like...
I don't know if he's the biggest dimwit in all Detroit. Come on.
I'm sure he's high up there. He's probably top 10.
Yes.
Top 10. Well, you'll probably think top 1 only because he has a TV series. So he's basically on television. You're the wife of like a local celebrity, possibly national celebrity. We haven't quite researched this enough. So like, you're basically a celebrity's wife and she's bored. She put her whole life on hold. She had dreams of being a psych major, but she had 3 kids pretty much like back to back. They're all within like a 3.
Yeah, they're all pretty close. I think there's like a little space between Randy and Mark.
Yeah, probably like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years. I would probably pinpoint it like 3 years. Judging by the length of Mark's hair, it's a little bit shorter than Randy's, so...
Yeah.
So she basically put her entire life on hold. She took care of these fucking kids. She fed them. She saw them off at school. She like potty trained them. She did everything while Tim just like befuddled his way through local celebritydom.
Yeah.
And now she's bored with life. She's angry. She has no friends. She has awful like clothes that she gets from Sears.
She has friends, but they don't seem to stick around long because she sets them up with Al.
Oh, yeah. And like she's like bored. She has no friends. She doesn't have any fashion sense. She has like an awful like.
Okay, can we be fair though? This is the 90s, and she was a mom. She did pretty well in the 90s for a mom.
Yeah, but she was a celebrity's wife. She could have like stepped it up a notch. Like, what if like, they have to go out in the town at some point in time?
She looks good when they go out on the town.
Okay. I haven't seen one episode where they go on the town recently, so I can't comment. But I'm just thinking, like, he's kind of a celebrity, and they still live in Detroit. They couldn't, like, upgrade to, like, maybe, like, New York?
I think it's a Binford thing.
Is Binford a local company?
I think it's a local company, yeah. I think their headquarters are in Detroit.
Okay, well, they got power. Like, they can afford, like, Bob Vila to come by every now and then.
Yeah.
So they have, like, some kind of pull. So, like, Jill is just, she's been bored for a while, and she's like, you know what? I need more out of life. Like, she's like, I had to deal with fucking my dimwit husband, these 3 kids. They're boys. Like, I'm the only girl in the house. Like, she's like, I just want something for me. So she's like, I'm going to go back to college. My lifelong dream is to be a psychologist. Like, that's just my dream.
Okay, before you, like, totally poo-poo on Jill, you should know that a lot of women use Jill as an inspiration to get out of the house and go back to school.
Did they? Do you have examples?
I heard it in the biography channel thing I watched on Home Improvement. Patricia Richardson said she would get letters from parents, from women who went back to school. I think my mom went back to school because Jill did it. Like, I think Jill was the inspiration.
I think my mom might have gone back to school because of Jill, too. But it might have been pre-Jill, though. I don't know.
I feel like it was right around the same time. So I'm like, I thought about that this afternoon.
I'm not knocking her per se. I'm just, like, knocking her on funness. Like, I love, like, a nice, fun mom.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking Jill Taylor, but, like, she just wanted more out of life. She wanted something of her own. Like, her life has basically become just basically nagging to her husband because he just wants to put up stupid Christmas decorations every year. And then, like, he completely, like, overdoes it. And then she probably has to deal with the aftermath.
But can we be real? He always injures himself. He has to go to the hospital all the time. They know him by name. They automatically have his file just there on the counter for him to come in.
That too. So it's just like, she has to deal with that. 3 boys. And then it's just like, Tim wants to do his annual Christmas decorations. And she's like, oh, I just don't know if I can go through it again. Plus she has her annoying parents coming down. And
yeah, but she's excited because she has forgotten how annoying they are.
True. So it's just like a lot of the stuff. So like she finally has like her own thing going. She finally has like a psychology. She has like 1 semester under her wing.
Yeah.
She's so proud of it. She's like, I did like 5 classes. I am just all there. And then
she took 5 classes. The kids are all alive. Tim didn't blow up the house. It's all good.
Yeah, it's still there. So Jill's mom comes to her, Lillian, she doesn't come to her. She's just like in the kitchen. They're just kind of like jiving in the kitchen. And she's like,
they're just like in the kitchen. Lillian's trying to make her sticky buns.
Oh, funny part. So, all right. I noticed the laugh track in this episode is just really weird. All right. So there's a part. All right. So it's right when Lillian and the Colonel arrive. And the boys are outside and she yells to them. She's like, kids, hurry back in so you can ice my sticky buns. And then they just cut to the laugh track right there, like for no reason. And I was like, was that like a sexual like grandma joke? Okay, I didn't know what was going on.
Pay too much attention to the laugh tracks. Because usually I'm too busy laughing myself. But
all right, so you have now Lillian and Jill. They're hanging out in the kitchen. And Lillian's she's just venting, basically. She's just
venting and gathering her ingredients. And Jill's trying really hard not to get involved. She's like, don't get involved, don't get involved, don't get involved. And then she can't help it. She has to get involved. She has to be a busybody.
The Colonel, he just watches Patton all day.
I get bored watching the same movie over and over and over again every day.
Yeah, like, she's just like, he just wants to watch Patton all day. And, like, I just want to travel. Like, finally, I went through, like, I don't know, like 40 years of marriage with him. They allude to how long they've been married for, but I couldn't remember. She's like, I've been married to him forever. All I want to do is just go to Italy, ride the gondola, and all he wants to do is just sit in the den and just watch Patton and other military movies. And, like,
Patton.
Jill's mind's, like, popping. She's like, I have 1 semester of psychology under my belt. Like, I'm going to analyze this whole situation. So she wants to butt in. And now, like, so before she butts in, she's like, you know what? I need to talk to Tim about this. Like, probably the worst person you can talk to, like, for advice is just, like, to go to your, like, especially her husband.
Go to Tim for advice. That is not the person you go to for advice. That's the person coming to you for advice.
So Tim is, like, he's outside. He's on the roof. He's, like, hanging up Christmas ornaments, like, which he's been doing for, like, the last, like, I don't know, like 2 days, I guess.
I think this is just later that same day that we started with.
Yeah. Does she climb the ladder, or is she just talking to him from down below?
No, she goes, Tim, come down here. So he's like, ugh. And he comes down, and then he gets down there, and Wilson's out. And he's like, don't butt in, don't butt in.
Well, I think at first, before Wilson gets involved, she's kind of like, Tim, I just don't know what to do. She's like, my parents are just, like, arguing with each other. Like, they're retired. They should just have all these annoyances behind them. I just don't get it. And he's like, Tim, like, for the one time in his life, he's right. He's, like, completely right. He's like, you know what? I'm a dimwit. I know I'm a dimwit, but when it comes to relationships, I know when to back off. Because this is how I've gotten through, like, at least 10 years of marriage with you. So he's like, just back off. But she's so adamant. She's like, I just want to, like, confront my father. Just let him know that he's a fucking idiot for ignoring my mother. And he's like, you know what? He's like, he hasn't been retired for that long. Like, well, let him have some fun, and then he'll get bored eventually. Like, there's only so many times he can watch Patton, which I don't know. We might have to watch Patton just to see if it's
It's about General Patton.
So, at that point, does Wilson get involved at this point, or is this pre-Wilson? I think this is pre-Wilson because she fucks up.
Pre-Wilson, I think it's Tim tells Jill, don't get involved, but Jill does go get involved, and then she talks to Wilson. She pisses her dad off, and then her mom gets mad. I wasn't talking to you, I was talking at you.
So there's something, how does Jill confront the father? I forget.
He's there with the kids, and he's watching Patton. He's got the 3 boys, he's got the 2 baby girls in his arm because they woke up, and he's like, I thought Patton would calm them down. Jill comes in, makes the kids take the boys, and she goes, Dad, I want to talk to you.
So Jill dismisses the kids, and she uses, like, her newfound psychology abilities. So now she's like, she accuses the Colonel of, like, being depressed, right?
Yeah.
And he misconstrues the situation. He's like, he thinks it's Lillian is the one who is saying that the Colonel's depressed. Although it's just like, Jill is just, like, using her, like, psychology vocabulary terms to... She's basically trying to diagnose him. Yeah.
Without all the information.
She only has, like, 3 pieces of information. Like, not even that many. She just has, like, a high-level overview of what's going wrong in his life.
Well, her mother's, like, just venting and taking off, like, her own thought of how everything is, so...
Now, on this side of the argument, who do you side with?
Well, I think Jill should have stayed out of it. And I think the dad does need some time to kind of, like, get used to being retired, not being in the military anymore, because he's been in the military all of his adult life, you know?
Yeah, I felt the same way, and I was just like, you know what? Lillian just needed to vent, because she was probably, like, the Jill of the 1950s and 60s.
Yeah.
Where she probably had some dreams in her life, and then she ended up having kids, so she dealt with the kids, and now, like, finally, he retired, the Colonel retired, and he's still kind of in that lifestyle.
Yeah, he's like in that weird point where he doesn't know how to like go and be this retired guy and do the things that they probably always talked about doing.
Yeah, and Yeah, she wants him to transition his life. He's just like not sure how to do it.
Yeah.
And the only way he knows how to do it is just watch like 40-year-old movies.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just let him be for like a few months. But Jill just had to be the unfun mom and like just butt her head and ruin everything, basically. Just completely ruin everything. So now Jill's mom, Lillian, is just irate. Because basically the colonel goes to Jill's mom. It's like, why are you calling me depressed? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're saying that I am depressed. Like,
yeah.
And she's like, I'm
depressing. He somehow took it to me that he was depressing Lillian. It got all tangled up.
It got heavy. It got heavy for an ABC sitcom.
Yeah.
At least 1994 was. But like, is there a difference between depressing and depression?
I think so.
I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, and I don't have Jill Taylor to ask.
Yeah, I know. I only took like one psychology course in college, and that was longer than a decade ago. Yikes.
Like the basic general psychology?
Yeah. I had the most boring professor. He talked like this the whole time.
Oh, you mentioned that in a previous podcast episode. You know what? I actually did pretty good in that class.
Yeah, I didn't do too bad.
Like,
I mean, I went to most classes. My friend Adam and I didn't walk out like we did our library class.
Actually, I think I took a library class too.
We'd be like, we're gone. We're done. We really don't need to be taught how to search stuff.
I think I've done that same class too, and you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I paid
actually, I think that's one of the classes I actually need to take to graduate.
Yeah, I'm like, my parents paid $900 for the class.
Yeah, I'm like, dumbest class.
I'm like, I'm probably gonna Google this. You know, though, I am currently taking classes online, and I just literally just Google my way through it.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
That's what I do. That's what I've done when I've taken online classes.
Well, personally, I think college is a scam.
Mm-hmm.
It's
overpriced.
It's overpriced, and it's a scam. You can now in 2014, you can learn all this stuff online. Like, if you really wanted to learn it, you just pop on YouTube.
Or Udemy?
Anything. Someone has a video on it. You can learn anything. So, Jill realizes she fucked up. And before Jill realizes that she fucked up, she's outside. I think she's like talking to Tim outside.
She's like yelling at Tim. He's on the roof. And she's like, Tim, come down here, come down here. He's like, ugh. He's like, I really don't want to come down. But he does it. He's coming down. He gets, like, as he's coming down, Wilson pipes in. He's like, Heidi ho, neighbor. And Jill's like, oh, never mind. I'll talk to Wilson. And Tim is like almost at the bottom of the ladder. He's like,
fuck. And he climbs back up.
Like, I might as well just build an escalator.
He says that too.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And then he climbs back up, and it's just like, all right. So now Jill's over at
the fence talking to Wilson.
And he's like, I've just been like outside for the last 2 days and listened to all of your quandaries. And he's like, so
that's all Wilson does is he just hangs out in his backyard, grilling up some weird animal, working on some weird, wacky project, listening in on the Taylors.
So he's
Gladys Kravitz from Bewitched would love to know the secrets of how Wilson found everything out.
He's basically like Ted Kaczynski. He's like the Unabomber. He has like this is a shack built in the suburb.
It's not even a shack. It's a nice house, but each room has like these different crazy artifacts. There's like one that has like medieval knight suits of armor, and another that has tropical birds and a waterfall.
Yeah, they go on his house one time, don't they?
Yeah, a couple times. So it's like weird. It's like he's definitely a bachelor. He has no kids, but he has a lot of weird stuff. So here are really random theme rooms.
Basically what happens here is that Wilson is trying to convince Jill to take like the third party approach. So he compares like what's happening to some like weird African tribe, and when they have like quarrels between each other, they seek out like third party assistance. So Jill's like, well, I'm a first party. My parents are another. They're like the second party. well, Tim can be the third party. And he's like,
Tim's like, no, Tim, is this when Tom falls off the roof?
yes, Tim fucking falls off the roof. Not only does he fall off the roof.
Bounces back up. He gets up, he's fine. Maybe a little stiff and sore, but nothing a hot shower won't fix.
He lands on his back. There's some I don't know, maybe a shed, some kind of
It's not even a shed, it's the garbage cans and stuff, and the recycling.
He lands on that. His back bounces off of it, then he hits the ground.
Ow. Okay, I don't know how he slips. I think he's hearing Jill, he's trying to do his stuff, and he gets distracted, and he's clumsy. And I don't know how he could just bounce up. When I was 10, I was sledding with my friends in my friend's backyard, and we were going into the dell. So we were going down this hill, but then there was this valley drop, and there was this row of logs from a tree that had got torn down, but they didn't remove the logs. They were all just cut up into pieces, but it was the whole tree was still there. And I remember the sled went up, off, and then it came crashing down, where you're just laying there you can't move. I still know where I felt that pain in my back, because it's still just you just know where it is. So I don't know how Tim can just bounce back. He's a cartoon character really at this point.
Yeah, he's a Looney Tune character. He just fucking bounces back up. If that was me, I would have been dead. That would be it.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only two characters who have ever been beaten up at least as much as Tim are the bandits from Home Alone and Home Alone 2.
And Al Bundy.
Yeah.
And Bud Bundy. Anyone that lives in the Bundy house.
Except for Peg. Peg always ended up unscathed, really.
Yeah, she just chilled on the couch.
Watching Oprah.
I contemplated her for my unfun mom, but then I'm you know what?
Fun, though.
I'm she is the funnest mom of them all.
She is the funnest mom. It's Peg Bundy. She's here, let's steal money from your dad's wallet and go to Denny.
And my spirit animal is Katie Seagal.
I love Katie Seagal.
The best. I've never seen an episode of Sons of Anarchy, but I can only imagine that she's great.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but she's done a bunch of stuff. Well, she was Leela on Futurama.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, she was fucking pretty badass on that show.
Yeah, hello, Futurama Simpsons was on just last night.
And fun fact, my best friend Allison worked on Futurama. Ooh, ooh, shout out to Allison on Futurama. So now, basically, Jill needs a third party. So she, reaches out to Tim. She's like, Tim, I need a third party to, interject my emotions to repair the relationship between my mother and my father. And he's like, I ain't fucking doing it. He's like, are you kidding me? He's like, I have this whole holiday lights that I have to put together.
Yeah.
All right, fine. What do I do?
His conscience gets the best of him, so he asks the Colonel to help. And of course, he cheats the Colonel. He gets the Colonel to help by telling him that Doc Johnson was in the Navy. And since the Colonel was in the Army, he's like, we can't let the Navy win.
Yeah, because the Colonel hates boats. He hates the Navy, and he's like, I will help you, Tim. He's like, show me that ladder. First of all, I was surprised that the Colonel could climb that ladder, because he looked very fragile looking.
Hey, I don't know, maybe he's just saved all that strength he's had while watching Patton. And that desire to beat the Navy. Those old rivalries, they're hard to beat.
True. All right, so...
Ohio versus Michigan?
I don't know that rivalry.
You don't know about the Ohio versus Michigan State University's rivalry?
Nope.
There's a whole... Oh my god. They're not very friendly at all. There's a dispute over river space and towns, and the two schools don't get along. It's a big game. It was on the other day.
Sorry.
Obviously, you're not into college football.
Nope. I don't know anything about sports, so that's that blows over me.
Okay, do you know who Peyton Manning is?
Yeah, I know he's an athlete.
What sport does Peyton Manning play?
Football?
Okay. What team does he currently play for?
No idea. Sorry.
Okay, if I told you orange and blue, would that help you?
Green Bay Packers?
Green Bay is green and gold. Orange and blue are the Broncos.
I have no idea. Sorry.
Oh my
Denver
God.
Broncos? Sorry, I don't know nothing about sports. I have faced my way through so many sports conversations in my life, and like I've never been asked like what team somebody plays for, so like but I can like kind of fake my way through sports conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point I'm always like, yeah, I don't fucking care. Okay, so where were we?
Tim fell off the roof and the Colonel went up.
So Tim fell off the roof. Tim
The Colonel
tricked.
goes up to help him. He tricks the Colonel into helping him. Colonel comes up and they start like working and they're like sticking these decorations just like into the roof. They have stakes on them.
Yes.
The most ridiculous thing. I don't understand. Like, has Tim gone through and plotted out this design months ago and inserted like stake holes into the roof? Or are they just like, oop, this looks good. Here, there goes the roof.
The Colonel has like a giant candy cane, for example.
Yeah.
And it has a stake in the bottom. So like even if Tim did like put like an insert point, he's basically just limited himself for like that 1 year.
Yeah.
And I think they do like a wide shot of the roof.
And it looks nothing like what they've been setting out.
No, and first off, we have to mention this. Are they decorating the back of the house?
I don't know if they're decorating the back or the side, or maybe that's just the easiest way to get up there is through that back side to get up to the roof.
See, I've been pondering the layout of the Taylor house. All right, so in previous seasons, they always go to the front door, and like Tim's like, put these goggles on so you can like see like my holiday light situation, and they're at the front door. But in this season, they go to the back door, or the sliding door. So they come out the sliding door, and then like Wilson's on the right side. The ladder's on the right side, and that's where they hang out. They like hang out like near the ladder. So they're looking at the house from the back. So like Tim, all right. First of all, too, Tim is decorating the house in the middle of the night.
He's got to beat Doc Johnson. You got to do it when Doc Johnson's not awake watching you.
Does he do anything else for work besides tool time, or is it like tool time is his own job?
Tool time is his job.
All right, so I would think they would have stopped filming around this time of the year.
Yeah, I think the Christmas one was probably the last one they filmed.
And I'm guessing if they do it in like chronological order, they already did the Christmas episode when the Binford guy chopped up the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So he basically has time off. Like he's off till the new year.
Yeah.
So he has nothing but time in the world. And it probably gets cold that night, like fucking wretchedly cold.
Yeah, from my understanding, Michigan is probably about as cold as freaking Minnesota, so it's fucking cold.
Yeah, and I'm just slightly south of both of those states, and it's fucking cold here. Like, I don't even, it's, all right, it's probably like 50 degrees outside right now, and I don't even want to go outside. I had to fix a flat tire like 3 hours ago.
It is, according to my phone, 34 degrees outside right now.
It is.
And we're expecting snow.
All right, so, no, actually, it's the beginning of winter. It's the beginning of winter. Tim is up on the roof. He tricks the Colonel to go up there. They're like jabbing Christmas decorations into the roof. They're spying on their neighbors with binoculars.
Yeah.
And I guess this is all happening like the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And Tim decides, he's like, you know what, this is my time. I'm going to be the third party. I'm going to be the African tribe that Wilson talked about like an hour ago. At first, the Colonel is defensive.
Yeah.
He's like, you fucking asshole. He's like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. But he warms up to the idea. He's like, you know what? I have been kind of a prick lately. I will admit that. He's like, I have been to Korea, the Korean War. And just like the most craziest thing I've ever had to deal with is my wife Lillian, who's worse than 1,000 wars, is basically what he says.
Yeah.
And Tim's like, arr. He's like, basically, I also go through similar pain. He's like, I am the host of a nationally syndicated cable television series.
Yes.
I could have, like, any hot woman I want, including Pamela Anderson from the previous 2 seasons. But I basically gave her up. I gave her up for Jill because I fucking love her. She's my rock. She fucking deals with me hanging up stupid reindeer on this roof. And she also happens to be a daughter. And she's fucking awesome, even though she's not fun. And I pay for her to go to college. And he's like, Tim, you're right. Sorry I was such an asshole to you all these years. You're awesome. And I totally watch your show. And he's like, thank you, Colonel. Thank you, Colonel. So now it's like the next morning.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning.
So is this Christmas Day?
No, I think this is gotta be like Christmas Eve. The Colonel comes in and Lillian's up, and Jill's like hiding behind the corner.
Oh,
listening
okay, I forgot about this. Okay.
Like, make up. And he's like, I want to take you to Italy. And she's like, really? Do you? Because, it's like, you really want to do something that I want to do and not just sit and watch Patton. So they have like this really sweet moment and they make up. And Jill's like hiding behind the corner, listening, trying not to get caught. And then they see her like right at the last second. She's like, I'm sleepwalking to make coffee. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. You're up in the morning. It's okay.
Like, and they're at our house. So like, why would they get mad at her like in their own house?
Yeah.
It's like,
though, to be fair, have you ever like been in the house when you have like a whole lot of family come for Christmas?
not Christmas, but like other holidays. Yes.
Yeah. And like you feel a little weird when they're like up early and like they catch you up, like they're not used to your routine or something. I've always felt bad because at Christmas somehow I'm always like the first one up.
All right, so Jill spies on her parents. She's basically like snooping. She has the coffee carafe. Yeah. She's like, you like see her head like popping out of corners.
Yeah.
She's like sliding on the parents. And they eventually catch her. They catch her in that Hallmark moment.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, I was just like, I'm sleepwalking. Like, nobody's, you don't, if you're sleepwalking, you don't acknowledge you're sleepwalking.
Yeah, you're just like,
So, they basically know what's up. They like, you know what, she was fucking spying on us. She knows that our relationship is rocky, just as the mountains. But, you know what, they found solid ground. They met their match. So they're like, you know what? The Colonel's like, hey, I'm kind of a dick. That's fine. You know what? I was in the military for like 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
I love the movie Patton. You know what? I want to watch it every now and then. But I appreciate the idea that you want to go to Italy. I'll take a gondola ride, but is it on a boat?
A gondola's a boat?
So,
what?
So I guess it's like he hates the Navy because the Navy are like they're oceanic. So he's like, "Fuck! I didn't know I thought it was like skywriting, basically." So
that is surrounded by water.
So we cut back, and now it's like the revealing of the Christmas lights.
Yes. So now it's nighttime.
All right. So is this Christmas Eve? Like what day is this? I can't figure out the chronology.
I want to believe that it's Christmas Eve. I feel like the lighting contest thing is always like on Christmas Eve.
But
I could be wrong. Maybe when I go and watch the rest of the Home Improvement Christmas episodes for fun, I'll be like, oh, wrong. But I think it's Christmas Eve.
I feel like that's a ballsy move to like, we're going to have our contest announcement on Christmas Eve because that's like the time for family gatherings. Yeah. But like, Jill made it seem like it was like Christmas Eve the entire episode. Because that's just the kind of person she is. She just
wants the perfect picture of Christmas, which doesn't exist no matter how hard you try, whether or not you get all the kids in the house.
So it could be December 23rd or it could be December 24th. We don't know. Yeah. But they're having the contest judging.
Like the judges are actually like, you turn on your display, the judges are actually going to go and look. It's like, I guess, supposed to be like the Great Christmas Light Fight is on ABC now, where they the judges go and they go, ooh, that's creative. Ooh, too many twinkle lights, or ooh, gaudy.
So Tim's basically
perfect.
Tim gets the heads up that they're coming down the street. And he's like, gang, let's all go outside. So they all go to the backyard. They all run out to the backyard. And he has this, like, huge Zach Morris phone remote. This is the remote that the villain of a James Bond movie would have.
Yeah, it's like this huge remote control.
And he's like, they plug in the lights, and like you only see like a few lights.
Yeah.
Jill's like, this is pretty lackluster. He's like, hold on. So he pulls out the James Bond villain remote. Which, where the fuck do you even get that to begin with?
He probably built it. Or like he hacked some like remote control from like the kids' remote control cars.
And he hits a button, and then like there's like some kind of like hydraulics, so a bunch of like cardboard cutouts like pop out of the snow.
Yeah, cutouts like pop up.
Like reindeer, snowmen.
The manger, except no baby Jesus.
No, the manger's not even out yet. It's just like generic stuff. And everyone's like, ooh, I like that, but there's no manger. And then Tim's like, hold on, and he hits another button. And this like hydraulic lift, it just lifts like a baby manger out. There's like a hole in the roof. There's a complete hole. And Jill's like, Tim, why is there a hole in our roof? Like, what? He's like, ooh, I'll explain that later. But it's like, how did you not know that like someone was cutting a hole in your roof?
Jill must sleep really soundly. That's the only explanation. She just like takes that Unisom and she's just out. And
where does he find the time to build that? Not only build that, but get the equipment to do that.
He probably like hijacks the stuff backstage at tool time.
He steals all the Binford tools and hydraulics.
And the Colonel probably went down to the studio at 3 o'clock in the morning and just loaded up on stuff.
And then, like, Jill's like, what are you going to do with the hole in our roof? And Tim's like, I'll fix it tomorrow. Then it starts snowing.
Yeah.
First of all, there's already snow on the roof that didn't, like, leak into the house.
Exactly.
And, like, there's not sod. Like, well, it's one of those roofs where it's, like, it's a flat roof. So it was probably like cut over their living room area. Their like den area.
I think that's the area it was over the living room.
And that's like where normal.
It's off the side.
That's normally where like everyone hangs out, like in the show, ever. Yeah. So it's like you didn't notice that. Like,
they probably did that in the middle of the night when everybody was sleeping.
Yeah, but you'd still notice that like someone was like chopping a hole in your house.
Well, it's not like you have the roof and you don't have anything between the roof of the house and the roof of the room.
Yeah, but you would have to use
an attic.
You'd have to use like a chainsaw though to like cut the roof. It's not like you just like magically have a hole in your roof.
Probably. I don't know.
There are so many holes. All right, so
don't worry, Tim will fix the roof. It'll be a whole tool time episode.
We made it through an episode of Home Improvement a few weeks for you. Next week, we're not gonna ruin the surprise yet, but we're gonna do a holiday special.
It is a classic.
Then we're gonna do a holiday TV movie.
Yes, which is another classic. They're all classics. Everything coming up is a classic.
And then we're gonna end off the year with another movie. A New Year's themed movie.
There are only so many movies that could be Patrick. Okay, it sounds weird actually calling you Patrick.
That's my internet name.
I know, but I'd never actually call you Patrick.
So that is our next few months.
Next few weeks. Yeah.
We love Tim Allen, and until next time.
Bye!